I, 29 female, and my wife, 28 female, had our son a few days ago. The pregnancy was complicated, which resulted in them coming early. They're currently in the neonatal unit, and my wife and I practically live there so we can spend time with our boys. My brother and his wife got married a few days ago. I didn't want to leave my sons or my wife, so I missed the wedding. I sent them their gifts and a text wishing them a fantastic day, and I thought nothing more of it. Yesterday, I got a text from my new sister-in-law explaining that because my wife and I missed the wedding, she'd need us to send her £140 for our plates of food. I asked if she was joking, and she told me that she got my wife couldn't go as she had to stay in the hospital, but that I wasn't the one who gave birth, so I could have gone and saved a few plates of food from going to waste. I told her she was being ridiculous, and asked if my brother was aware she was asking his sister for money for food. She brushed that off and said weddings were expensive and she had to try and recoup her losses, and this should be between us, woman to woman. I admit I lost my temper between this and her, thinking I should have gone anyway. I ended up taking screenshots of the conversation and posting them to Facebook. This shocked several people in the family, and she must have gotten bombarded with messages as she told me to take it down. I was making her look bad, and people were taking it out of context and thinking she was some kind of villain. My brother called me and told me not to worry about the money and that it was stupid to expect us to pay for the plates, though he asked me to take the post down and he'd handled it. He seemed shocked by her even asking this. Did I go too far? My wife is mostly upset by our sister-in-law's comment about how I wasn't the one to give birth, as if it makes me less of their mother. Maybe I should have handled it better, but I admit at the time I wasn't thinking very clearly. Am I the idiot for making my sister-in-law look bad? Edit, I took down the Facebook post when my brother asked me to do so. Not the idiot. She made herself look bad by having the audacity to text this ridiculous request. People think of her as a villain because she is a villain. Why did he marry this awful woman? Wishing your family speedy healing and best wishes. The new sister-in-law messes around and finds out. Yeah, I'm hoping this has opened his eyes to the kind of woman he's married to. Yikes, you can't undo this kind of villainy. The audacity of asking for £140 when someone's partner was in the hospital is insane, especially considering the thousands that they likely paid out for the wedding. That would be a drop in the bucket, so it's petty to ask. Right? She said you took the messages out of context, but I'm really racking my brains for what possible context could make those messages not look petty and villainous, and coming up with nothing. Your sister-in-law is insane to expect you to be there when your wife and babies are in the hospital. You were right where you were supposed to be. I'm curious, did the bride and groom pay for the wedding themselves or did the parents pay? Your sister-in-law's true colours came out the second she got that ring, didn't they? How dare you allow me to make myself look bad? I was trying to bully you in private, woman to woman. What a witch. I bet she didn't even pay for the wedding. I'm just gobsmacked. I wouldn't take a post down. Let the family see who she really is. This lady is ridiculous on another level. Some people need public shaming to drop their BS. Definitely not the idiot. I'm wishing all the best to your beautiful babies. My partner, 32 male, and I, female 36, have been together for 5 years. We've been living together for almost 3 years in my apartment. I have a tween daughter from a previous marriage who lives with me full-time. Dad is not in the picture anymore. Me and my partner have about the same income and agreed to pay for everything 50-50. I fully pay the expenses for my daughter. 2 months ago, we decided to book a holiday together for the summer. We'll be staying a week in Spain, and I've been wishing for a holiday for a long time. My daughter was diagnosed with diabetes last summer. It's been a roller coaster health-wise and a tough journey in recovery. This summer we feel ready to travel again for the first time since the diagnosis. It's a big milestone for us. All I want is for us all to have a good time as a family. My partner put full responsibility on me for making plans and didn't show much effort. He asked me to make the arrangements for this summer. He's usually passive when making plans. I've been searching for the right travel for a long time and finally found something that felt right. I then discussed this with my partner and he agreed it would be perfect. We talked about the costs and also agreed to pay half each. We decided to make the booking and he was fully aware of the binding financial obligation for the booking to the travel agency. I made sure to mention this multiple times before making the final booking. Yesterday, my partner reached out and told me he was unhappy with the plans. He thinks cheaper options are available. I tried not to let this bother me, considering his lack of effort from his side and me trying my very best. I reminded him it was too late to cancel, something he was fully aware of. Then he told me he's only planning on paying for himself, leaving me to pay for my daughter and myself, which is a big difference money-wise to the 50-50 agreement we previously made. He now tells me he thinks it's not up to him to contribute to paying for my daughter. I got very upset because I felt he was breaking what we both agreed on. Also, had I known this beforehand, I probably wouldn't have made the booking, making it too expensive for me to carry those costs alone. I tried talking with him, but without any results. He's telling me I'm wrong for asking him and blames me for only thinking about money. I feel so disappointed and hurt. That holiday I long for so very much is now giving me so much stress. Am I the idiot for expecting my partner to pay half? Edit, I'm covering my daughter's expenses alone but expecting him to pay 50-50 for the trip. When we discussed the holiday plans, we agreed on this for it being an extra bigger cost. Also, it affected our options in choosing something we could both afford. Not the idiot. You didn't ask him to be a father just to honour an agreement he made as your partner. You planned the trip, confirmed with him multiple times, and he agreed. Now that everything's booked and non-refundable, he's backing out of his share? That's just not fair. It's financially manipulative. Exactly. OP wasn't asking for anything extra, just for him to follow through on what he agreed to do. Backing out now puts all the pressure and cost on her and sends a message that he only shows up when it's convenient. That's not a partnership. That's a dead weight. Lady, go see the travel agent and move your deposit over to another holiday. It may cost less when booking for two. The bloke can meet you there using his cheaper option that he sorted and funded himself. He's been there for half of her life and she's had a life-changing diagnosis. You need to do some deep thinking about the messages you're sending her by living this way. You have full-time custody of your daughter and your partner that you've been living with for 3 years contributes nothing? So he doesn't treat her like family? Why are you with him? He clearly doesn't add value to her life, and this is coming from a woman with no kids. Sounds like he thinks your daughter is a burden. To be blunt, your partner is a jerk and you and your daughter deserve better. Seriously, forget the trip. This guy has been with you for 5 years and living with you for 3, and he obviously still doesn't see your daughter as his, which is a huge problem in my book. If someone is moving in with me and I have a kid, then they're not moving in unless we're basically treating this like a marriage, as in full commitment and a family. The fact that he won't pay for anything that's your daughter's really bothers me. In the last year, things have changed at my dad's house. His long-distance girlfriend moved in with him and they had a baby together. She was pregnant when she moved, and then they got married. I, a teen male, didn't know his wife before she moved in with my dad, and I don't know her that well now either. I spend more time at my mom's house than my dad's. My dad's work schedule makes it harder to spend time with him, so it makes sense that I go where I have at least one parent at home. My dad's wife and I are already on not so great terms because I didn't start spending more time at dad's house when she had the baby. She felt like I could be with them and get to know them instead of just visiting for dad. But I don't care about her or the baby. I'm only interested in seeing my dad at his house. Heck, I don't even need to see him to see my grandparents or uncles on his side of the family. He's usually so busy that Mom has helped with that in the past. My dad and his wife know this, so they're pushing for me to go to London with them, which is where she's from, and meet her family for the first time. We're in the US. They're going in July and my dad booked me on the flight with them without asking first. When he told me, I said I wasn't going, and he told me it was a great chance for some family time. He said it was important to his wife that I try to act like we're a family and try to make her family my family too. I told them I wasn't going and they wouldn't change my mind. Dad's less angry than his wife is. She was offended, and she told me her family had wanted to meet me and I was being an idiot. Dad tried to make it sound like we'd have lots of fun, but then he admitted we'd do nothing but spend time with his wife's family, and that's not how I want to spend a month of my summer. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. A month is also a very long time. Your dad can take PTO for a month to satisfy his wife, but can't find time to spend with you? That really rubs me the wrong way. Yeah, he sounds like a half-crap parent. He's lucky you want to spend any time with him, considering he sounds like he makes no effort. And screw that, having to go pretend to her family like you like her when you don't even know her. But your dad has made no effort to foster a relationship, like seriously not even introducing you to her before she's moved in and already pregnant. He sounds like an idiot, honestly. Well, Daddy knows by now how expensive child support is, so he most likely wants to avoid having to pay for 2 kids. Since he's already paying child support for OP, there's no financial need to make him or his mom happy. Sad? Yes, but unfortunately the financial aspect is what a lot of people care about more than they care about an actual relationship with their child. And of course, the chance of Daddy ending up paying child support for the second child too is even lesser if OP is willing to play happy family with the new wife's family, since that was the idea he most likely sold to all of them. So it's going to be awkward for him to have to explain to his new wife and her family why OP isn't there. That happens if you're selfish and sell illusions to get what you want. That's why he also didn't move in with his girlfriend before she was pregnant. The illusion of his first son going to be a happy family with both of them would have gone straight down the toilet. So it was safer to knock her up before she found out what he sold her is not what she's going to get. Sorry, but your dad is a selfish idiot. I, 24 female, have a father, 67, who has declining health and now needs 24/7 care, which is why I put him in a nursing home. For some background, growing up I had 2 other siblings, and my father would rank us in terms of who he loved most and who he loved least, and I was the one he loved least. He would also belittle me and call me ugly, bratty and unlovable. He would ignore me whenever I spoke and would take my siblings on father-son and father-daughter trips every month, but never me. He would also run milestones such as my graduation by saying he was really disappointed in me. Growing up, it felt like I was constantly walking on eggshells, and he never knew me because every conversation had to be kept at surface level. If I said something wrong, I'd be threatened and screamed at and lose the privilege of eating dinner. He wasn't a bad father and had a few good moments, but there are just some reasons why I'm opposed to taking him in and not so close to him. Because we never had a close relationship, I decided that when he asked if I could take him in, I said no. He and my mother are separated, so she's not an option. His family lives states away and my siblings are both too young, 19 and 21, meaning that I would be his only option. Now, I feel guilty for putting him in a nursing home because he's paying for it out of his own pocket and he's not able to afford that. I'm not punishing him, I just don't want to care for him for the next 20 years because I have my own family now. He also wasn't terrible or abusive, so I'm wondering if this is too extreme. Am I the idiot? The privilege of eating dinner. Wow, not the idiot. You need to go back and read what you've just written. He wasn't a good father. He was abusive. Taking on the care of a parent is not easy under the best of circumstances. You don't owe him this. Who the heck ranks their kids? It absolutely amazes me what people can normalize. You reap what you plant. He was an idiot to his wife and eldest kid. He should be grateful she's even putting him in a nursing home. Doesn't sound like she put him in a nursing home, to be honest. It sounds like he put himself there because he had no other option. He's paying for it after all. Remember, Dad, I'm your least favourite offspring. I wouldn't let you stoop so low as to be your caregiver when I'm so substandard. OP, be happy that, despite his cruelty, you managed to create a loving, stable, healthy home for yourself and your family. Don't jeopardise that by bringing him into it because he'll ruin it all for you. My sister and I are both pregnant. This is her second child and my first. We're both having boys. When my sister had her daughter a few years ago, her best friend forever was pregnant at the same time. My sister complained for 8 months that they didn't have any idea what to name my niece, and then all of a sudden, she had a name right before she gave birth. After my niece was born and her name was announced, my sister and her BFF started fighting. The BFF said that that was the name she'd chosen for her baby girl, and my sister used the same first and middle name for my niece, and she couldn't believe she'd do that. My sister said it's first come, first serve, and she needed a name so badly that her BFF had time to find another name. My sister is due a few weeks before me, and with that in mind, I don't want her to do the same thing to me, and she has asked. Nobody knows we're having a boy except me and my husband, and we plan to keep it that way. But my sister asked what our boy's name was, and, as an afterthought, she asked for our girl's name too when she realised I knew what she was getting at. I refused to tell her. She tried to whine about name sharing being the fun part of pregnancy. I made up a couple of names on the spot to tell her and she saw through it. She told me to just tell me the name and I said no again. She asked a few more times. She even asked in front of our family. It was our brother who joked that nobody should tell the baby name thief the name they've chosen. My sister got upset and asked if that's why I wouldn't tell her. She told me I was holding something against her that she never did to me. Mom asked why I couldn't just share the name and everyone would know my husband and I chose it first if my sister used it, but I still said no. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, not even a little bit. It's so obvious to me that your sister is trying to do the same thing again. Think about it. What's the worst that can happen if you don't tell her the name? She's unreasonably upset. She has to wait for the surprise like everyone else. Now, what's the worst thing that can happen if you do? She steals the name again, and you're either forced to change it at the last second like her best friend was, or your son and nephew are stuck with the same name. I mean, she literally stole her best friend's child's first and middle name, didn't leave her anything but the last name she already had, then didn't even try to deny it, just said, "You snooze, you lose." She wants you to feel bad for not telling her, but clearly has no ability to show the same to others. I hope the best friend dumped her as a friend. Don't tell her the name or lie and make one up. See the tragedy page for suggestions. We're naming him Chauncey, pronounced Kohunky. Isn't it beautiful? Agreed. Your sister is an unoriginal weirdo. What does her baby daddy have to say about the name? No input from him? I'd come up with a horrible sounding name like Pubert or Gunther and stick with it. Let her think you really are naming your child that. The fact that she's so pushy about this is weird too. So yeah, make something up, stick with it, and maybe you'll end up with a nephew named Pubert. LOL.